What's up, YouTube? It's me, your mama's brother's baby mama's son. I'm your cousin, Bushido Brown, back with another reaction video. What's happening, Chief? All right, man. Today, no music reaction for this video. Today, we're gonna step into something a little more serious, something that I usually don't do. But I always have opinions on things like this and stuff like this. I just felt like I'm gonna start doing something different on the channel every now and then. If y'all with it, you know what I'm saying? If you with it. So if you with it, you know what I'm saying? If you're with it, you know what to do, like the video, you know. And let me know y'all wanna see more videos like this. But we checking out trans women versus conservative women on the Jubilee channel. It's from the Jubilee channel, so y'all make sure to go check out Jubilee, you know. Look at those videos, man. There's a lot of deep stuff on this channel, on their channel. So check it out. It's called Middle Ground. We're gonna check this out. And let's see, man. I may lose some subscribers behind this one, man, but hey, certain things need to be talked about. And, you know.
Ability to give birth is a woman's greatest strength. Can the disagreeer step forward?
Let me turn that over.
I'm not able to have children. So I'm still strong. I'm funny. I'm physically strong. I'm smart and I have a lot of strength. I don't believe that having a baby is the greatest strength because not all of us can. I cannot have kids due to medical issues from a medical procedure that I had when I was younger. And it's a hard subject to talk about. It doesn't mean I'm any less of a woman, but can we get another question? I'm sorry.
It's kind of deep. It's kind of deep. Yeah.
One of the things that I regret was the fact that I would never be able to do that, but I was honored in the ability to participate it from the other side. Women are amazing. They don't just deal with that, so.
While giving birth is not a woman's greatest strength, I do think that only biological women are capable of going through that process and bringing life into the world.
I need to push back on that because we're also forgetting that trans men and trans masculine people can also give birth as well. And I don't think it's fair to just set it on one group that says that just biological women have that power to just give birth. And we have to be very clear when we look at the nuances of birth.
I recognize that there are people who have different identities. There are biological women who identify as men and then go on to give birth. I would argue, however, that those people are still biological women. And I know that is something that can offend many, but that stands as my belief.
So the correct term is actually cisgendered woman. Cis means same. It means that you identify with the birth that you were assigned. And so, you know, I just really wish that we would kind of be a little bit more mutable to the terminology, because
that's something I never agreed with. I'm just be honest with y'all. The birth you was assigned, agreeing with the birth you was assigned. Yeah, it's called order. I mean, any trans people watching this or whatever, you know, I just believe in order, bro. Like, to say that I can assign my child, or my child can assign himself his own gender when he decide. I never agree with that. I'm sorry, I never agree with that. It don't make sense to me. It's just why it's the difference between order and chaos. Everything got here. Crayons got colors. They're assigned a color. Everything that we know is assigned a name or something. That way we can articulate this from that. That's how we know. That's how we keep order in the world. So when people start like trying to decide their own gender, for me, I mean, you know, you can disagree, but for me, that just opens the world to more chaos. Hey, maybe I'm tripping.
I think that's what really is going to open up that dialogue and that discussion.
If I may, I think the crux of the conversation kind of comes back to, are trans women women? And I think if we don't agree there, it's going to be very difficult to kind of keep the conversation going or even agree on the points that you guys are talking about, because if we don't believe that trans women are women, then the conversation kind of ends there in terms of whether like men can give birth or not, if that makes sense.
I'm not sure that's the case. I feel like the ability to give birth is not like the end all be all of a woman's like meaning and life and herself and her personality. And I think that if you can acknowledge that, I would also then maybe challenge the idea that womanhood, as opposed to like a female sex, like womanhood is a consistent thing that has always been one way.
So how would you define womanhood?
You sound like Matt Walsh.
It's a good question.
Womanhood, to me, is about standing in integrity. It is about being confident in who you are. And me, as a Black trans woman, should not be a threat to you. And what I see from a lot of cisgender women is they're trying to deem what womanhood is supposed to look like. I have my own perspective of womanhood. We can coexist in the same world, but the reality is we...
Wait. Hold up, that's the whole... Okay, look. So, she said that she got her own definition. You are not allowed to do that. It's just like, bro, how you gonna tell somebody that was born something what the definition of what they are when you weren't even born it? They are women. They born women and they live their life as women and they are them. So if you want the definition of what a woman should be, you need to humble yourself, ma'am, Miss Trans, ma'am. You're supposed to humble you talk to women about what you need to do to seem more woman-like. You know, that's just my opinion. Like, if I want to be a baseball player and never seen baseball before in my life, and I want to transition to a baseball player from another sport, I'm just using this because it makes sense to me. I would go to somebody who played baseball in life. I go to a baseball player and learn to be a baseball player. Same thing when people go to law school or to med school. You want to be a doctor, you learn to be a doctor from a doctor. You can't tell me you're going to come in as a male and tell a woman what a woman is. It just don't even make sense to me. That's stupid. That's stupid, bro. That's just some arrogant. That's bold. That's real bold for to look at a woman in her eye and tell her what she is and the definition of what she is and what she think is wrong.
Womanhood, to me, is about standing in integrity. It is about being confident in who you are. And me, as a Black trans woman, should not be a threat to you. And what I see from a lot of cisgender women is they're trying to deem what womanhood is supposed to look like. I have my own perspective of womanhood. We can coexist in the same world, but the reality is we get so stuck on parts. Yes, having a vagina is not the only thing that makes you a woman. I'm sorry. It takes integrity, it takes courage, it takes lifting other women up. It takes those things to begin to defy womanhood, and there's so many other different things.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, so if I...
Wait a minute before she asks her question. The definition she gave was a definition of a human. Yeah, we all humans. If you want to get technical, we all, you want to be a good human, you need to have integrity and all those things you was naming to be a good person. That sounds like the, you know what I'm saying? The qualifications of a good person. But to say that, oh, just because you got a vagina don't make you a woman. Yes, the hell it does, motherfucker. Excuse me, but that what it, hell, that's stupid, bro. Bro, that's stupid. What, in that case, we all women. I'm a woman, you a woman, everybody watching, everybody women, we all women. That don't make no sense to me. That don't make sense to me at all. Point blank, period. Let's hear her question.
Those things to begin to defy womanhood, and there's so many other different things.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, so if I were a white person and I said Blackness is about integrity and courage and kind of the same thing that you used to define womanhood, and then I said I want to transition into a black person and I'm white. And I'm redefining what blackness is to fit what I view it as, right? There's no objective reality of what blackness is. Would you consider that appropriation, or do you think that's something I should be allowed to do?
I consider that dodging, and I consider that comparing apples to oranges, because race and gender identity are two separate different things. Because when we look at race, we have to look at many, many different structures of what white.
Blossom is upsetting me. I'm black, and I understand that question fully and wholeheartedly. It's the same thing. It's something that has a name you give it at birth. It's something that you get the label as birth. Hey, she is this, or he is African or African American, whatever your ethnic group, whatever. We know this because we put a label on. That's how we shouldn't do it, I think, but that's how we distinguish one person or one group from the other. I mean, it may be wrong, but that's what it is. So when she used the race instead of the gender, it's pretty much the same thing. A white person can't tell a black person how a black person supposed to be, what a black person is, just like a black person can't tell a white person what a white person is. Just like a man can't tell a woman what a woman is, and a woman can't tell a man what a man is. They do it a lot, but they don't make it right. See, that's some you feeling too privileged. You feeling too bold. Blossom is tripping. Blossom tripping.
And white supremacy looks like, and how white supremacy can be manipulated into other things. And what happens is the closer you are in proximity to whiteness, you're able to weaponize it against other people. It reminds me a lot of Rachel Dolezal, who, masqueraded as a black woman. It really did open up many more doors of conversations around it, but it's still wrong. It's still not fair, because she will still ultimately have a privilege that I, as a black trans woman, would not begin to have.
What's interesting is that we're talking about race and gender, or as we probably like to call it on our side, sex. Race actually has a more understandable structure for people being transracial. Race does actually exist on a spectrum. I'm biracial. Many perceive me to be black, even though I am also half white and half black. We label people like President Obama as a black president, even though he is as well. Race has never had binary markers. It does exist on a spectrum. Gender, however, does have binary markers. As much as we try, as much as we change the way that we self-present, chromosomes are not going to change, and that's just a reality.
All right, I'm going to bring up a little point here, because you talked about the binary side of gender. Well, I was born a little of both. I believe I've never had my chromosomes checked, but since I fathered 2 children, I'm assuming I have the correct male chromosomes. So I was intersexed, and there's a lot of reasons that happens, none of which are well studied or understood, but a friend of mine in the pediatric trauma world says about 1 in 150 kids come out with some degree of ambiguity in their gender. For me, that appeared as always feeling out of place. And for the first week of my life, I was in the surgical wards at Naval Hospital in San Diego, getting pieces of me cut off. So
now I can understand it. I can absolutely understand. I can't understand it. I ain't been through, but I can sympathize with that, because if you born with 2 of them, it's also a name for that. There's also a space for that. But when you choose, you get to choose. You know what I'm saying? You get to choose, because you was born in extreme circumstances. You had an extreme circumstance of being born. You was male and female, I guess, and you got the opportunity to pick, to keep both. I guess I don't know if it was gonna be healthy or whatever, but you got the chance to actually choose. So, and for me, this person, let's say her name was Gina. Gina actually is more humbled, even though he was born with both. You got a male side and a female side. So, and she got the say power, you know what I'm saying? She can really say, you know what I'm saying, well, I think womanhood is this. You may not agree with it such as she see, but she was born with both. So, but for a person that you never, I don't know, but it's kind of upsetting me, because that Blossom person is too arrogant for me. trying to make themselves seem more woman than other women. I mean, I'm just like this. The Rock said, know your role and shut your mouth.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
Know your role, man. Sometimes you gotta know your role. I know some people gonna get mad at me for this, man, but sometimes you gotta know your role. If you know you came into this game, you a newbie in this game, stop trying to talk to the vets like you've been around here longer than them. Like, my grandma got some knowledge. My grandma, Lord rest her soul, both of them. They had knowledge they could give me that I never in my life would have knew unless they told me. And they saved me from a lot of heartache and pain. These women could do that for you when you coming into that game. Stop trying to overstep them and be more of a woman than they are. You can never do that. Just be if you're gonna be a woman, be a woman. Stop trying to be more of a woman than somebody else.
So, and then they gave me testosterone for the first 11 years of my life. I wish the world were truly sexually binary. It would make it so much easier. But there is a little bit of a smear. And, you know, as a trans person, I'm a very conservative trans person. I don't see the huge gender spectrum that a lot of people in the trans community do. Do I feel better having transitioned? Yes, absolutely. I used to live in a little shell, well, very large shell, but you know, now I'm, you know, much more open about who I am. You know, is that the only thing that generally defines a woman? No, I don't think that is the only thing that generally defines a woman.
Right. I think there are a lot of women who may be on our side of the argument who will try to maybe invalidate your experiences by saying you can't give birth or you can't have a period. And while those things may be true, I'm sure there's a lot of other different struggles that you all are going through. And yeah, I would truly believe that you probably are highly discriminated against in our society, and it is hard to be you. It is hard to go through the things that you go through and have to deal with some of the responses that you get from people. And you know, it's not a struggle that I would wish on myself at all.
Not a struggle I wish on my worst enemy.
Trans women should be allowed to compete in women's sports.
That before they start talking, I feel kind of really strong. I feel really strongly about this one, but hey, we finna let them. Let's go.
I do think that trans women have every right to compete in women's sports. When trans women are on hormones, the hormones break their body down. Having gender affirming surgery breaks down the body. And so I think we really need to be educated before we jump to a conclusion that trans women are stronger than cis women in sports. Hi, everybody.
I find it interesting that you assume the people who disagree with you are uneducated, and I will speak out against that. I think the research shows that trans women do happen to have a biological advantage against biological women. Even though you are taking hormones, and that does start to change your body and level things out. We're talking about primarily people who have transitioned post-puberty, which means they do have male bone density, male wingspan, male hand size, feet size, lung capacity. All of these things are going against women, biological women, when trans women start to enter their spaces, their sports, and compete against them.
Bro, anybody that just grew up male or female, you don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to go to Harvard or some kind of big school, some big Ivy League school or some big medical school to know certain things. You know from growing up that men are usually, on a normal basis, men are usually, like she said, bigger. You know, even if you don't know the inner workings, you don't know the heart size is in there, whatever, you don't know whatever with the lung capacity. You know, usually when you see a dude, he usually a little bigger or a lot bigger hands, like you say, bigger feet. That's why when you see women, that some are the exception to the rule with the bigger hands and bigger feet, people look at them strange, like, wow. Oh, you be like, whoa, what the hell? I mean, it's rude, but I'm just being 100. I got to keep it 100. So for Blossom here to act like men and women are born physically the same is just crazy. You grew up in this world. I mean, men and women ain't born physically the same. Never. I mean, you got some exceptions to the rule, but other than that, on a wider scale, it's pretty much the same in every culture.
And this is really concerning for me.
I think for me, it's not a question of whether or not trans women can compete in sports. It's a question of how can we change the institution of sports in this country to make it equitable and to create more opportunity for cis women, for trans women. And like that's kind of like why I wanted to actually ask you all, like, what has your relationship to sports been?
I don't think you have to have a direct relationship to sports to realize that women are being affected by this issue, and I do reject the idea of equity. There is no way to come about an equality of outcome, which is what equity is saying. There's a reason that women's sports are less funded and less watched than men's sports. It's because men seem to excel athletically, and they seem to press the bounds of athleticism way farther than women do. We now exist on a slippery slope.
I like Amala, however you say her name. I like, because this is just true, bro. Like, I'm gonna use the WNBA because it's been the people like and crack jokes. I watch Bill Burr go in on them, but the truth is, women can hoop. Women can truly hoop, but men and women. Men built for physical things. Men built for physical things. I think women can handle emotions and everything better than men can. Like on a wide spectrum, not because you got some men that's, you know, say, like I said, you always got the exceptions to the rule. But generally speaking, men and women, men are usually better at physical things. Women are usually better at emotional things. That's why when men can't handle their feelings, sometimes they just spaz out and start want to break things and hit stuff. And you know, you got the lunatics, they can't handle it in their head. We call them crazy sometimes, but they just can't handle it. When you get certain emotions in our head, we be like, we don't know what to do. And we just, our first instinct is to make it physical. You know, so that's why you got a lot of guys that like to fight when they get too mad or feelings hurt, or you don't know what to do. Whereas women can process that and they can handle those feelings better. You know what I'm saying? Y'all feel me? You feel where I'm coming from. So when I don't know. To say that
if it's female sports, is it then female locker rooms? Is it then female prisons, which we're now seeing becoming an issue here in California, where biological male inmates are being put in female facilities because they identify as women? We have to discuss as a society how much we give into the feelings of wanting everybody to be accepted and how much we are willing to do that at the expense of biological women.
I use myself as an example. This is about how big I was in junior high school and early high school. I used to be able to walk up to a V8 engine block, pick it up off the floor, and set it on a table. And if I was in powerlifting or weightlifting, that amount of, that advantage was just unbelievable. I've been on hormones for 15 years. Did it weaken me? Absolutely. Did my bone density really hasn't changed, my muscular hasn't changed. And this is not a binary question. There's a lot of nuances involved.
I just want to ask a question. For what you were saying, can you throw out some statistics?
I don't think you need to have so there's an abundance of research. There's even trans activists who agree with exactly what I'm saying. And your hormones can change, right? And even she just spoke to the fact that her bone density did not change in going on hormones and changing these things. And we can see it in sports as we're watching them. Leah Thomas is a great example.
So if you can't throw out the statistics, we're not doing enough of the work. And let's also be clear, there are some cisgender women who produce high levels of testosterone as well. And so we really have to unpack it from all different sides here.
Can you produce statistics about the bone density of biological men and how it changes upon being on hormones and whether or not it levels out to biological women?
I actually cannot, because when I would think of those statistics, I would think it was BS, to be quite honest.
What the hell? This one. Hey, get Blossom off the show. Because this the type of stuff they get under people's skin. These people are awesome. That's what I'm talking about, women. That these women controlling themselves, because I've been on Cuss Blossom the hell out. Get off the stage, Blossom. You just asked this woman, can she have some statistics? Did she have statistics on her talking points? She said no. But she know, you know what I'm saying, people that did research on the stuff. She asked her the same question and she says no because she thinks the statistics are BS. So why you asking her for statistics if you think it's BS? No, the statistics are going to help your argument, then you was going to be all for it. But if it's going to be against your argument, then you're going to like, no, throw it out. Oh my God, bro. I don't like this Blossom cat.
Honest with you, because the reality of it is we could talk about statistics and the research all day long, but it's about experience. We're going to be looking more at the experience because, again, when we look at cisgender women who produce high levels of testosterone and who have been kicked out of sports and been disqualified from teams based on something that they biologically cannot control, then what are we really talking about here?
Well, we're talking about, I mean, data and that is overwhelming, and we're talking about what is also we're capable of seeing with our human eyes. I think it's very clear that if you compare maybe you to the rest of us, there is going to be a strength difference.
I'm talking about, bro, look at those. I wish I could, let me look at those muscles, bro. Look at Blossom. Blossom look like, I'm gonna stop. You know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. Nope, Chief, I ain't gonna say it, Chief. Nope.
There's going to be a bone density difference.
But you're just saying that you don't know until we physically do something and just perceiving and assuming just because.
Look at your hands. You look like you could palm a beach ball.
Because I look a certain way, that's not fair. Me and her we could look completely different or whatever, but she may be stronger than me.
I agree, but
she have much more agility and vitality than I do. We don't know that until you actually do it.
I'm saying that it has been studied, it's been done.
And it's been done, we've seen it numerous
times.
But it's an assumption. Time again.
But we're only going on assumption at this point. Because again,
it's not assumption when we see it. Maybe it's the news cycle that I watch, but I see it a lot. I see it quite often where they're showing trans women beating. I mean, I'm by far.
And you don't see women dominating in the men's sports, right? You don't see trans men going into men's sport and just completely dominating and wiping the field with them. This is what happens when you, in my opinion, twist God's design. And when you go against God's design, you create these problems that you wouldn't have if you weren't going against.
I didn't want to hear that, Paul. You say you twist God's design. One thing about it now, I believe in God, but I ain't no super religious person. But what I learned is, in these type of debates, or you know what I'm saying, people they talking to each other. As soon as somebody bring God up, whoever people lose it. Don't bring God in this. No. I don't. Man, listen, man. I don't want to hear about God. She said go against God. What's God? They was like, oh, it had to look like, oh, hell no.
In my opinion, twist God's design. And when you go against God's design, you create these problems that you wouldn't have if you weren't going against what God intended.
I'm going to take her side a little bit on that. Let me say one more thing, and I'm supporting you on this one. There's a great deal of women that, and actually there was a lady in the last Olympics that they actually disqualified until she went on androgen blockers to knock her testosterone down to a female level. Like I said, this is not a binary yes or no question. And the whole idea of messing with what, God puts up, God put me up, okay, if you want to take that. And I had this conversation with a very religious man in San Diego, and he was like, oh, I don't quite know how to deal with that.
And God made you that way, but he didn't make a lot of the people transition.
I understand.
No, but God also understands my transition. God, first of all, knew what I was going to be in my life. God already knew I was going to be trans when God put me here. So I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair when people dip and dab. Your relationship with God is personal.
Yes.
It's sacred.
Let's
and
keep
I
it
don't
there.
think it's fair when other people dib and dab in other people's relationship with God when they don't understand what they go through. God still blesses me as a trans woman. God blesses you as a cisgender woman. God is
What the hell is a cisgender woman? So what, she used to be what the hell going on? What is a cisgender woman? Now, if she was born, she's a woman and you a trans. I don't. Okay. All right.
Embodied in me as a trans person. I don't think it's fair, again, when we judge people's personal relationship with God. Gender identity, sexual orientation, none of that matters to a God that loves all.
All right, y'all, we're gonna wrap that up right there. Just to wrap this up, bro. Just to give y'all my feelings on it. I think trans women, gay women, the LGBTQ community on whole, man, leave them people alone. Let them people do what they want to do. Live how they want to live. I don't think nobody got the right to be harassed about how they want to live their life. Like, my biggest thing on anything is mind your own damn business. That's not your business. If it ain't affecting you in a negative manner, leave it alone. Just because you don't like to see it or whatever, that's your business. Leave them people alone. But on the other side, I think the LGBT community got to understand that, like I just said, that's your life. You can't expect people to accommodate you to make you feel better. Once you get to a point where you can live your life freely, do and go as you please, live your life like, you know what I'm saying, sexually or whatever, or whatever the label is for, whatever they call it. When you can live your life and be happy in your own skin as you please, you can't then expect other people to live the way you live. You know what I'm saying? To just always want to accommodate you. It's gonna be people out there that's gonna be cool with, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do this to make sure they straight. You know, like something like with the pronouns, for instance. You know, with the pronouns, you know, the he, she, he. I don't know how it goes, so I don't want to be disrespectful to it, because you know, LGBTQ community shut you down. Hell shit. But some people are gonna accommodate that for you. Fine. Some people not. It's fine too. It's not their job to make you feel better. It's their job to leave you the hell alone and let you live your life and let you get whatever job you choose to get, work where you want to work, go where you want to go, do what you want to do, and not bother you. But when it comes to people addressing you or how they look at things, well, leave that alone. That ain't. Man, if y'all want me to do more videos like this or whatever, check others, you know what I'm saying? Check other like social videos like this. And let me know, man. Y'all click the like button, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if y'all want to see other videos like this. But in the meanwhile, don't forget, man, to hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell, thumbs up the video. Until next time, I'm out. Peace, cousins.